you could give advice to your 27-year-old self, hey, when I'm 27, what would it be?
That's a very profound question. I'm trying to think about where I was at 27. The advice I would give myself was to go forth. You know, people thought I was crazy when I was leaving my job here as an educational officer and not knowing what I was going to do and where I was going to live. But I really felt it was important. I wanted to write, and I felt it was important to go and do a graduate degree. And so I did. And I would just tell my 27-year-old self to continue to take risks, continue to push forward, continue to hold your dreams as your mirror and live them. So that's what I'm saying to you. You have very sound and very important dreams and ambition, for want of another word. And yes, you will get tired and maybe feel old sometimes, and then that's when you step back and rest and recalibrate. And then you push through, because sometimes if we just push through, we don't necessarily, we can't see the openings. And it's really, you have to see the openings. I was in Kingston trying to get a place like this in Kingston, which is where I thought I wanted to have it, and everything was way out of cost.
It's really
Like 70 million for a place that I would have to spend far more than I spent doing this place. This place, renovating this place cost me 5 million. In Kingston, it would have cost me twice that. Plus, I wouldn't have been able to afford it to begin with. So, and it was when I said, you know what? It's interesting. It was when I said, I don't think I'll be able to do this, and I just pulled back. And then a colleague said, there's this place in Lincoln. I said, Lincoln, I ain't going to Lincoln. I don't know nothing about Lincoln. And persuaded me to come and look. And it was like, perfect. Here is my house. Here is the artist residency. It was canny, because it was like what I saw in my head. I wanted a place that was adjacent to the artist residency, but that was private, and that I had a place for myself and for my daughters or whomever when they came. And that place happened to have 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. I was like, yeah, I could make this work.
and made it work.
So you have to pull back sometimes. And you have to be with, like, you're gone to Belize, which you've already done. You've taken risk. You've gone outside your comfort zone. You've gone outside where you thought you would be. I never thought I would be in Lisbon.
My attorneys were very concerned. They were like, Belize, okay. Because they're Jamaican, and then I had to find a Belizean attorney. And then even when I wanted to put the vehicle in Florida, attorneys in Jamaica and Belize were now like, Florida. So I had to find a US-based attorney. So I mean, it's constantly adapting to new things that I know nothing about.
And learning.
Yeah.
And learning. And but what is the consistent denominator is this vision. And making sure the vision happens. And understanding that sometimes it doesn't happen where we think it's going to happen, or it's not going to look the way we think it's going to look. But if the vision is meant to be, it will happen. Give yourself credit.
Yeah.
You've gone a long way. You've done a lot of things in your very young age. So, and one of the things that I think is also important to remember, that sometimes we just need to step back and take a minute and nurture ourselves. And that's what I do too, when I feel like, oh God, I can't anymore, it's too much. I take up 3 days and go to Mobile and just do nothing but walk the beach and sit at the beach all day. So that's also an important part of what you, yeah, to recalibrate, but also to just say, I'm done this week and I'm doing nothing. You've had an idea and you have taken concrete steps to see how to implement that idea. You have gone a step further by securing a site to implement your idea. So it's just a matter of time. It doesn't mean that you won't have some fallbacks, or, but you sound very clear, you have taken concrete steps, you have other things in plan to navigate to where you want to go. So as long as you don't lose focus, I don't see any reason why you won't succeed.
Really not today.
Yes,
It's hard.
it is.
It's so hard.
It really is. But it's worthy, it's important, it's needed in the Caribbean.
I'm tired of seeing people die because they put necklaces in here.
Hello.
Or they have to pay like Florida type of money to get treatment.
Yeah, what you're telling me about the kidney thing, I'm now going to tell my friend. I was like, I don't know what you can do, but $500 is much more affordable to whatever. You take your son down there and do a tour. I don't know. But it's awful, you know. And people are dying all the time. I mean, I knew that from being in Linstead Hospital, if there weren't Cuban doctors, and in Annabelle and other places. We have a long way to go in the Caribbean and Africa, primarily because the rich and the politicians fly out.
They don't care. It doesn't affect
and
them.
they fly out.
Even the potholes that are
Oh my God!
it's not in their community, so they don't care.
And they're not driving their cars, and if their car breaks down, it will be fixed, and they have a replacement. So there's,
you know what someone told me?
What?
I asked a politician once, why does everybody either drive a Prado or a Pajero? I think the Pajeros are PMP, Prados are JLP. Like that's what they tend to separate against, right? And I was like, why do you guys all drive that? Like, oh, because they handle the roads.
Yeah, they handle the roads very well.
So instead of fixing the roads, they just buy the vehicles to drive around the holes.
Say, you know, we keep electing leaders who have no sense of nationality. They have no sense of nationality because
they do. The nationality.
You know, if they did, they would, you know, they can still thief. So, but rather than taking 90%, they would take maybe 60 and give the other 30 to
actually fixing the place.
My garbage hasn't been collected since November. It's piled up. Not November, since January.
I was showing her this week because she saw me like taking the garbage out to shops, like commercial places. And I was explaining to her, yeah, like my garbage hasn't been collected anymore. So
not since January. It's piled up. I've written to the mayor. I've written to the Custos. I've written to the MP. No response.
Are they on other places?
Well, in other places they are. Even if their response is not meaningful, they are not in Jamaica. I've written the Prime Minister, never heard from him.
That's true. That's happened.
Yeah. You know, and they have a body of people who are just supposed to say, we are in receipt of your letter and we're going to look into it. That's all they need to say, you know. But they don't even do that.
I should tell you what the time I was actually through the Prime Minister's office back in 2019. I was putting on our very first back to school event, right? And I was trying to get it done at the Prime Minister's office because I was taking a bunch of kids from Poland and Northeast primarily. At the time, there was a lot of flare-ups in the community, and I was trying to get them to set foot in the highest office of the land. Because a lot of them, you know, they would never be on the compound of the Prime Minister's office. So I wanted it done there. I was bringing all the sponsors. I was organizing everything. Literally, all I had to do was just
say yes. Yeah, and be decent.
Yeah, just let me the venue. Maybe the Prime Minister can show up. Like it would literally be PR for him. Like he didn't have to do anything. Literally, just give me the venue and smile. That's it, right? And I emailed them months before, called, started dodging my calls, ignoring my emails. Luckily, I got in touch with Minister Charles Jr. And he was like, what? Like, they're not helping you with this? And I remember one day I went down in person, and they threw me out. The guards threw me out because I went to the front desk and I was like, hey, I'm trying to follow up on this. I emailed this specific person, she hasn't responded. And I was like, I'm here trying to see if we can have a conversation. He told the security to escort me out. Yeah. And these guys were like armed guards, and I'm like, I'm a tiny person, like, you know, I'm not there to cause a scene or anything. You didn't need to do all of that. And the guards, when they heard what I was trying to do, like, they felt like you could see that they were conflicted in themselves.
Yeah, but they have to follow duties.
Yeah, they had to follow duties, right? And then I told the minister about it, and he got so upset. And then he called the permanent secretary up there, and there was a person she was hearing of it. And then she was the one who granted access to the place. And they were just really upset at the time, but they were like, she's not.
So who were the gatekeepers that prevented the letter from going to the
I remember her name. Her specific, I remember her name. Anya Redway. To this day, I remember how she made me feel so small for trying to help these children. I was like, I'm not begging you for anything. I'm bringing all the sponsors. We got Grace, Circle of Purity, Sample. So each company, Grace gave 1 month's worth of food, Circle another month, Purity another month. So that's 3 months food supply for each child. Digital gave tablets. Learning Hub online gave free e-learning classes. I got JUTC to throw in 1 month's free bus fare for each child going to school. Palisades Health Services gave each of them comprehensive health checkups before they went back. Logo Stitch gave them school supplies. Then I got the catering sponsored.
Organized on advocate.
Yeah, that was what I brought it all together. And Samsters came in with some school supplies. So I got it all together. And then Power 10, was it 106? Yeah, Paul Durban Malcolm came in and did a live broadcast. JIS was also there. Minister Favor Williams was a guest speaker. I'm like, literally, all the PM would have to do is just show up and take a picture, and that would have been, the kids would go crazy, you know? And I remember the thing that broke my heart the most though was when the kids were leaving. They said to me, I noticed that they were handing me back the stuff that I gave them. After the picture, I'm like, why are you giving it back to me? It's yours. They were like, it's ours? And I was like, yeah, this event is for you. They're like, the kids were like, we get to keep it? And I was like, yeah, like, what do you think this was? And then they were like, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I was just like, wait, did you think I just had you guys come out here and you guys just parade for the sponsors and have to give it back? And then when they went on the bus back to school, to you know, the principal brought them in. They called me over and I was like, hey, what's up? And then they were like, oh, thank you so much. And be like, you know, the kids saying it in unison, and I was just like, oh wow, like that for me was what made it worth it, because we only got the venue literally 3 days before the event.
Sounds good.
3 days before, and I was emailing them months out. And 3 days before was when the minister called and like cussed them out and made things move. And he was like, listen, Janine's not getting anything from this. Like, I'm not paid from this. Like, I'm not paid from this. This is all in-kind donations. I don't benefit. In fact, I'm paying my own money to get this done, right? And it was like, yeah, with armed guards.
Welcome to trying to do anything meaningful, cultural, archival, historical in Jamaica. Listen, I adopted a school in Hanukkah. I have 2 Facebook pages, 5,000 people max on each. I sent out a letter and I connected with a nonprofit in California to say I'm trying to get 200 loaded backpacks for children. You will be credited. You know, I want to buy underwear, blah, 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 blah. 2 people, my cousin and my daughter. No, not another penny from another soul. So I had to come out of $500 of my own to do 2 schools. These are for children in Hurricane.
No, they don't care. Trust me, I'm telling you, they don't care. Like, they pretend to care. That's why I felt so burnt out. That's also why when I first came in here and we started speaking, I was like, I don't know if I've given up. Like, I've just been.
It doesn't sound like you. I'm so glad that you have.
I feel worn down.
Yeah, it wears you down. Girl, let me tell you, sometimes I feel like I'm on the ground and that manure is in better shape than me. I reached out to so many people. This residency is all my money. And I've reached out to so many people for support. Support an artist, you know?
No, they're not going to need until they make it big. Then everybody run come over.
Then I said, you don't want to die not doing anything.
That's true.
You can do this.
Start something.
You could start something. So you have to start something, and you haven't died. You haven't given up. You might be recalibrating, but you haven't given up, and that's a wonderful thing.
It sucks so much.
There's a brown girl in the ring, tra la 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 la, for she likes sugar and I like rum.